Way down in Memphis, Tennessee, beneath a gravestone peacefully, there lies a steamboat pilot brave and strong, who gave his life to save his crew and the passengers he saved them too. His story is the reason for this song. It was a day like most we know, when suddenly, way down below, a fire broke out and then began to spread. So quickly did it rend and rip that the cry went up, abandon ship. But the pilot hollered stop, and then he said, the water here is mighty deep, the current's strong, the bank is steep. If folks jump now, a lot of them will die. But though the river here is wide, it's safer on the other side. I'm gonna cross, at least I'm gonna try. I will not go, that is what they heard him say. 'Cause if I go, no one else will see another day. But if I stay, anyone can plainly see there's a chance nobody will be lost but me. There's no other way, I'm gonna stay. And saying this, he took the wheel, he pulled down with a grip of steel and hauled around to face the other shore. Across they pounded inch by inch, the pilot stood, he didn't flinch, as at his back the flames began to roar. The captain hollered, get out son, the fire's here, you gotta run, or pretty soon there won't be no retreat. But he replied, we're almost there, just one more minute, we'll be where the water's calm and just a couple of feet. He aimed her for the shallows and he plowed her up into the sand, where all 200 people safely fled. But to the one who wouldn't go, the fire dealt a mortal blow. These words are chiseled now above his head. I will not go, that is what they heard him say. 'Cause if I go, no one else will see another day. But if I stay, anyone can plainly see there's a chance nobody will be lost but me. There's no other way, I'm gonna stay. Down in a place called Calvary, a man is dying on a tree, who, like the pilot too, was brave and strong, who gave his life for me and you, and for the world to save them too. He also is the reason for this song. For on that Friday, this we know, he hung there suffering, even though it should have been us hanging there instead. Though he was never in their grip, he took the thorn and nail and whip, as deep inside his heart these words he said. The debt they owe is much too deep, the way of God they cannot keep. I leave the cross and all of them will die. But here and now I do decide, I stay here till they're justified. So listen to his silent victory cry. I will not go, that is what I hear him say. 'Cause if I go, no one will survive the judgment day. But if I stay, anyone can plainly see, though I die, nobody need be lost but me. There's no other way, I'm gonna stay. I will not go, that is what I hear him say. 'Cause if I go, no one will survive the judgment day. But if I stay, anyone can plainly see, though I die, nobody need be lost but me. There's no other way, I'm gonna stay, I'm gonna stay, I'm gonna stay, I'm gonna stay.
The song I just sang is based on a true story that comes from Life on the Mississippi by Mark Twain. And it describes very well, I think, what Jesus is saying in our gospel lesson for today. In those words, when Jesus says, "I lay down my life for the sheep. No one takes it from me, but I lay it down of my own accord. No one takes it from me." The steamboat pilot in this story decided that he would stay at the wheel until he could get that boat somewhere where it would be safe for people to get ashore. He could have fled at any time, but he didn't. As it says in Life on the Mississippi, he said, "If I go, people, maybe a whole lot of people, will die, will drown. If I stay, they will be saved. I will stay." And according to the record of this event, no one else died, not any of the 200 people, passengers and crew that were on that boat. Only he died. No one took Jesus' life away from him. No one took it. He gave it. He gave his life. He decided that he would go to the cross. He knew early on in the Gospels that the cross was coming, and he told his disciples about his decision on several occasions. "The Son of Man must suffer and die," he said, "and on the third day be raised from the dead." And we know that some of his disciples tried to dissuade him from that path, but he would not be dissuaded. And he decided finally in the Garden of Gethsemane when he prayed and said to God, "Not my will, but yours be done." Think about it. Jesus did not have to go to the cross. He could have fled at any time. He could have stayed in Nazareth and never even started this whole business. He could have followed in Joseph's carpenter footsteps, got married, raised a family, skipped the whole thing. Later on, he could have said no. Remember, in the garden, he prayed, "Father, if it's possible, let's not do this, okay?" And the thing not recorded in the scriptures was God's reply. "My son, you don't have to do it." At least that's what I figured God said. I mean, think about it. God put 12 legions of angels on the bounce, ready to go if Jesus changed his mind. Or even when he was on the cross. Remember what the chief priests and the elders and the lawyers said? They said, "He saved others, but he cannot save himself. He is the King of Israel. Let him come down from the cross now, and we will believe in him." The ironic fact is that he could have come down, and in doing so, he would have shut them up but good. But he didn't. He said, "No one takes my life from me. I lay it down. My choice." No one took Jesus' life. He gave it. And that is the mark of a true shepherd, a good shepherd, or we might even say a great shepherd. Of course, there is that other kind of shepherd, the not-so-good shepherd, the one who sees the wolf coming and says, "Sheep? What sheep?" The one who says, "Drive a little closer to the shore. I want to wave to someone." Oops. And who later said, the passengers were pouring off the decks, taking the lifeboats by assault. You know I'm talking about this crash in Italy, yeah. The passengers were pouring off the decks, taking the lifeboats by assault. I didn't even have a life jacket because I'd given it to one of the passengers. I was trying to get people into the boats in an orderly fashion, but since the ship was tipped at a 60 to 70 degree angle, I tripped and ended up in one of the boats. That's how I found myself there. In addition, he said, he got stuck in the lifeboat for 1 hour because it was difficult to lower it into the water off the coast of Giglio Island. Well, come on, be fair. It's possible that that's what happened. Of course, we found out later that also in the lifeboat with him was the first officer and the third in command, too. He flees because he is a hireling and cares nothing for the sheep. Well, given a choice between a captain who runs his ship aground and then bugs out on his passengers, and a riverboat pilot who risks and eventually loses his life to save all of his passengers, I think it's very clear that we would take the good captain, the good one, any day. Because there's nothing like the real thing. United Methodist pastor, Reverend Larry Daniel, found out that there really is nothing like the real thing. Daniel is well known as a writer of Civil War novels. How many of you have heard of him? I've never heard of him either, but I guess he is famous for writing Civil War novels. He's well known somewhere. Anyway, he tells this story on himself. He says, "I will never forget when I got my wife's engagement ring. Even as a college student, I was fascinated with the Civil War. In fact, during my senior year, I had been saving up my money so I could buy an antique musket, an 1864 U.S. Springfield rifle. Oh," he said, "it was a beauty." Well, he says, all of that changed when I met my future wife. Instead of buying the gun, I decided to buy an engagement ring. That Bible verse comes to mind. Greater love has no man than that. Because quite frankly, the choice was not easy. I really wanted that gun. But I knew that if I did not buy her a nice ring, she'd be the one buying a gun. After he bought the ring, Pastor Daniel said to the jeweler, "Okay, come on now, be honest with me. I mean, the deal is made, and I can't back out of it. But I was wondering, can you really tell the difference between a real diamond and one of those cheap rings you see on the Shoppers Channel on television?" "Well," the jeweler said, "come around here and look at this." He put 2 rings under the jeweler's light, the one that Larry had just bought, and a cheap, phony ring from a box he had below the counter. And he gave Larry his jeweler's eyeglass. He turned on the light and he says, "Look at the cheap ring, and then look at the one you just bought." When he did, Pastor Daniel said he was amazed. The real diamond sparkled under the light, while the counterfeit ring was dull and had no luster at all. There's a difference between the real thing and something that is not. And so you have, described in our gospel lesson for today, 2 shepherds. On the outside, they look the same. The deep tan, the weathered face. Both of them are wearing clothes likely made out of sheepskin. But only one of them is the real thing. The other is a fake. One is a shepherd in his heart. The other is a shepherd for hire. Jesus ain't no rent-a-shepherd. He's the real thing. He does not hide in obscurity. He does not flee. He does not call out the angel army. But he lays down his life. No one took it. No one could take it. But he gave it. That's the kind of shepherd we have.